Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game on the market. And get this, you can pick from multiple sports platforms, football, NBA, MLB, whatever you like. If you sign up using the code ASU, Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Sign up using the code ASU. And Prize Picks 100% match your initial offer. Sign up using the Google Play Store or the App Store. Well, the NFL free agency period has begun, and the Atlanta Falcons wasted no time signing new players and new contracts for current players. And the
Right,
Falcons filled some holes and fortified some positions.
right.
Just what do you what grade do you give this free agency so far? Let me just cut
It,
to that. What grade do you give
it's
it so
so funny because I was about to give them a grade and you asked me the question.
far?
Right now, I will give them a solid B of what
Okay.
they're doing. Um, what they do the rest of the free agency period and the draft will determine if that stays that way, if it
Mhm.
goes down, or if it goes up. But I think they've done a really, really good job on getting some players that's going to help them right away
Mhm.
and filling some holes that they needed to fill. Um, Last year and the year before, we felt like there was too many guys on 1 year contracts whatsoever, and it was like, uh, and I felt, me personally, I felt some of those guys didn't play like they wanted to be here long term. If
Mhm.
that makes sense to you, and that happens when you're not winning football games. So if you already know you're on a 1 year deal, and basically you want to say, hey, let me try and take my talents elsewhere to possibly get to the playoffs and the NFC or AFC championship game in the Super Bowl. But let's get right into what the Falcons have done this offseason and where I'm most excited about. Um, let's, you know, them resigning Carter, Smith, McGarry, and extending Lindstrom, what I thought was very, very good.
Uh-huh.
What that does for people don't understand, I see and I read is the Falcons have not addressed the offensive line. Falcons have not addressed the offensive line. Uh, Let me remind you, this offensive line probably was the third or fourth best offensive line in the NFL last year.
Last season, yeah.
And they're coming back and everybody's together. And you're gonna add some pieces in the draft. You may add another guy in free agency because you always need depth at
Mhm.
that position. But I think right now let's not concentrate on the offensive line because I think it's solid.
Yeah.
And I think we signed some, we signed some guys and drafted some guys years past that uh, could be solid backups. So I think right there, I think we're solid right there. Wide receiver was another big question.
Yeah.
You know, I thought there wasn't really a wide receiver in this draft that made you go, "Wow, I gotta have him."
Yeah. The free agents.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and then even in free agency, there wasn't really a guy where you said, "Wow, I gotta have him."
So,
Um,
so I hate to cut you off because that was going to be one of my questions because we got a lot of receivers that were on those 1 year deals or guys that
yeah,
are going to be leaving.
yeah,
So we really
yeah,
got Drake London and we just
hmm
signed Matt Collins, who
yeah,
is kind of going to be a blocker. We don't
right,
really know what he's going to be, so
right.
to speak. He's not going to
hmm
be a premier like a Drake London. So what are
Excuse
they
me.
going to do for that position? What do you think? Who they could get, or are they going to go in the draft for
Well,
receivers? Because they got to fill some holes.
I think you just hold off for a little bit and see
Yeah.
what's going to happen, after June 1 or whatever it needs to be, because Hopkins from Arizona may be available
Hmm.
via trade or release or something like that. So I think you hold steady right there. Matt Collins was a solid pickup. It wasn't one that is one that's going to help you. It's
Yes.
one that's probably going to help you get the ball deep downfield whatsoever. But at the end of the day, it's about uh, Kyle Pitts, London, and the new acquisition. John Smith.
Passionate.
Who's gonna be wearing 81, by the way. I'm see, here's the thing. That's one pickup I'm very, very excited about because I watched him when he was in Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought he was a wide receiver until when they put it up, they said tight end.
Yeah.
So you have two tight ends that have wide receiver skills. That's gonna be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you have really a true tight end in Smith where you can keep him in and run to his side because he can block well
Yeah.
whatsoever. If he has to stay in and protect, he can do that. If he has to run routes, he can run short, intermediate, and deep routes.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a help in that tight end room, and he's going to help Kyle Pitts to elevate his game to be a true professional at that position.
Um, I want to ask you a crazy question, and maybe you don't think it's that crazy, but Kyle Pitts, is there any chance or scenario the Falcons might be doing something with him come before the draft?
It's funny you say that because we sit around, we smoke our cigars, we play golf and whatsoever,
Mhm.
and I said this, and don't get mad at me for saying this because this is a business,
Mhm.
and this is not about how you feel about a player and his talents and does he fit here. I think he's a wonderful talent, and I think he fits well here, but at the same time, it's a business. If you can get more commodity, more draft picks, whatsoever by moving that commodity,
Mhm.
you will listen. You will listen, and I think here's a chance that there's this year's draft. There are some dynamic, excuse me, some dynamic defensive guys in this draft,
Right.
and I think you're gonna have to really, really look and see, do you want to go that route at number 8? And if the guy you want, is he going to be there at number 8, or do you need to move up or whatsoever? Or, you know, do you leverage yourself to get two number 1 draft
Yeah.
picks? So it's one of those things. Believe me, there has been a discussion in that war room about that situation and others. Me, I'm gonna put on, I always say, let me put on my GM hat. If I'm a GM, I'm looking. I'm looking, okay, what makes sense? What makes us better? At the end of the day, we got to get out of the customer service business, making everybody feel good and make everybody feel happy. You're trying to win football games.
Right.
You're trying to win the Super Bowl. And what Fontenot is doing now, it seems like he's been told that there's no more excuses. This has to be the year. We have money, we have room, we have roster spots. Here's the year. You don't do it this year, I'm gonna be scratching my head, and we're gonna be talking. We're gonna have long conversations at the end of the year, and that's trust. That conversation has been had. It it,
I
it
hope
has
it
to be.
has.
Well, and you know what? I hope it has been had. I
Yeah.
hope this team is not sitting on, well, we got another
Years.
couple of
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
whatsoever. But let me go back to the offseason acquisitions. Taylor Heineke comes back home, local
Mhm.
guy. I think he's going to be a good fit in that meeting room for Ritter. Uh, David Onyemata
Mhm.
was an excellent pickup. Excellent pickup.
From
Here,
New
here's the
Orleans.
thing. Here's the thing. This defense, now you heard it from me first. This defense will finish in the top 10 in defensive efficiency because what Nielsen is doing in building, that's the defensive coordinator,
Mhm.
what he's doing in building this defense is phenomenal. And it all starts up front. They convinced Goldman to come out of retirement.
Yep. Today we that was
Yep.
announced.
Yep.
Uh,
You
and
got,
just for the fans, real quick, Goldman, we signed him last year. He then retired 6 days later, and now he's coming back. He last
right.
played for the Bears. So,
Yeah. And then you have Graham that's coming back.
mhm.
You have Grady, and then you have Anyamata. Now that front four is special. That
Well,
front four, well, Here it
Let
is.
me ask you though,
It'll be three. There's not an outside guy yet
and
that
that's what I was
they're
gonna
not
ask.
there's not an edge guy yet that they have identified with.
Mhm.
But even with that, this is a very good defense. I'm gonna go even further. They resigned Carter.
Right.
They picked up Ellis from the Saints. And if they go out and get Nolan Smith at the 8th pick from the University of Georgia, all that speed on defense in that front seven is gonna be special. Now I ain't even talked about the secondary yet. I ain't even talked about the secondary. I'm waiting for Hayward to be healthy. He's gonna be back. We could talk about AJ Terrell. We know what he is. Well, Casey Hayward, Hayward gonna be better. Hayward gonna be better. Um, what's his name? Is it Hayward?
Yeah. That
Yeah,
you're referring to Casey Hayward.
yeah, he's gonna be better. And then we sign what we've been talking about for the last 3 years is championship pedigree
Hmm.
with Bates the third
Hmm.
out of Cincinnati. Now we got championship pedigree in that room. But see, but that's not the end of it. That's not the end of it. I think the two best pickups that the Falcons did this offseason was hiring Steven Jackson and Jerry Gray as their defensive back coaches.
Hmm.
These two guys I played against in the NFL. They were solid. They're good men. They're fundamentally sound. Uh, and they can motivate and encourage guys to play at a high level. And there you go. You got two guys that have championship pedigree coaching your defensive backfield. You got a defensive coordinator that understands championships.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness, this defense is gonna be special, man.
You got me
It's
hyped. I'm not gonna lie.
it's gonna be special. It's
You
gonna
got
be
me
special.
excited.
And the other side of the ball, even though it's going to be young
Hmm.
and it may make some mistakes, that defense is gonna bail them out.
Yeah.
And you truly, everyone knows this about defense is that if you give them field position and give them opportunities, more opportunities to be on the field, you're gonna win football games. That means 3-and-outs, turnovers, what changing the field, whatever it may be. It gives you an opportunity to play at a high level because you don't have to march the ball 75, 80 yards downfield, and and you got to have more opportunities to score. And I think right now Arthur Smith is probably just he's sitting back going, we're not done yet because
Hmm.
you still gotta go get that dude at wide receiver. I know everybody says Drake London is wide receiver one, but there's a wide receiver 1B out there that's going to be out there probably in June. And I think we're going to have to invest some time and invest some energy in that. And with that being said, I have said this before. We've been solid in off-season acquisition so far. And and I always say, if you're not trying to win now, you shouldn't be in this thing.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna say this with a little asterisk by it. Slow down on your spending because there's going to be somebody out there that's going to be a difference maker,
Yeah.
and we're going to have the money for that. So there's more. We're adding guys right now. So as you add guys, guys have to leave.
Right.
So there's going to be some things that's going to happen in the next few months that may hurt the
The
fan base
fans.
feelings,
Yeah. Hmm.
but at the same time, it's going to help us.
Right.
It's going to help us. It's going to help us.
As you were talking about the defensive line, they signed a couple of tackles or brought back Gallman, who's a tackle, and then signed David Onyemata from the Saints.
Yes.
And then we have Big Grady and we have
Yes.
Taquan Graham coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So do they go after one of these ends? I mean, Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. Is that something they may do, or do they try to draft one, possibly move up and maybe get a Will Anderson? I mean, he's a game changer. I would love to see him in Atlanta.
Well, you know what? I think honestly, I think that's the missing piece.
Hmm.
I think Will Anderson is the piece that we're missing because now you have that solid defensive front and you have a guy like that on the edge. not only just can rush the quarterback,
Yeah.
he played the run very well also.
Right.
That's the difference maker right there. Does he fall to number 8, or do we move up a few spots? It could be a draft and trade situation. We have some commodities sitting there that some teams may want to have.
Yeah.
And so, hey man, it's gonna be interesting the next 3 months. I'm telling you guys, it's gonna be interesting, and it's gonna be interesting, but it's gonna be fun to watch. Because I truly feel that they're gonna do something that's gonna put them number one in the division for on paper,
Mhm.
uh, come June, July.
Do you think the quarterback room doors closed? Is it Ritter, Heineke? Is that it? Or you think?
They probably draft a kid late,
Mhm.
6th round, 7th round, or bring in a guy undrafted free agent, whatsoever. So you need 3 quarterbacks in your room, maybe 3 and 1 on the practice squad. So you have 4 quarterbacks. That's not because of injury; it's just because that you don't want 1 and 2 playing scout team and doing those things and have a risk of getting hurt. So you're gonna have more. You'll sign another quarterback or two. Um, Probably draft one and probably sign one in undrafted free agency.
And then the receiver, like you said, we have Drake London, but we're gonna need a couple more. Kadero Hodge is leaving. Well, I'm not gonna say, excuse me, I'm not gonna say they're leaving. As we
They're
said,
free agents.
we've got
They're free
guys
agents.
coming up for free agency. And
Zacchaeus is a free agent. Yes.
Zacchaeus, yeah, and there were guys that I don't necessarily say I personally wanted, but they were available now to sign. Thielen, Brandon Cooks got traded. Um, there's other receivers. I just don't know what they're going to do in my mind. I don't know what's out there besides D Hop. And like you said, they're going to have to probably put the full court press on him or the Texans excuse me, the Cardinals to make that complete.
Yeah. Well, you got guys, guy like Josh Ali that came off the practice squad that's on the roster now. Um, I thought when he was a very I thought he was a very good player in college until he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he spent the whole year last year on practice squad. I think he's going to be special. I have a liking to him because I trained him, so that's my dude.
Okay.
So I know he's going to be ready to play. And like I said, just hold off and wait because right now you done filled the holes that you needed to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And the next move that you make, e- either free agency or in the draft, has to be a guy that's going to impact your program, your organization. He has to be. You can't spend a lot of money on a maybe guy. You got to do your due diligence, and you got to be for sure that this guy, whoever it is, it could be 1 or 2 guys, that the next 2 that we sign has to be different makers or be a big part of the success of this organization.
So we can't, I'm going to say can't, but we shouldn't expect the Falcons to do something crazy like get a quarterback at that pick or move up to get a quarterback or even the running back from Texas. I mean, I've heard crazy things and I just don't want, I'm hoping the Falcons stay on defense. Tell me there's no chance that we're going to draft one of those positions with that pick.
If we do, I'm done. If we do, I'm done. I'm done. If we go get a quarterback, if we move up to get a quarterback, or we draft a running back, I'm done. In the first round.
Yeah.
I'm truly done because you're solid
Yeah.
there. You're solid there, and you're only gonna get better there. Just trust what you have. When you do things like that, that means you don't trust what you've done in the last couple of drafts.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No, I agree.
That goes if you do a
It's
bold
going to look
move
real
like
bad.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, if you do a bold move like that, that means you're not comfortable as an organization of where you are right now. But what it does to you, it especially with a quarterback, with a young offense,
Hmm.
um, it sets you back a whole season. Does that make sense? It
Yeah.
sets you back a whole season.
Eh,
I can see if 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 we were 6, 8, 9, 10 year veterans
mhm.
offensively, running back, receivers, tight ends, offensive line, and you put a guy there who you know that those guys are gonna cover up his mistakes,
All right.
I can understand that. But this is a young offense. It's a young coaching staff, and the thing is that um, don't do it.
So in saying that, what you said is, that's basically detrimental to do that right now. Carolina, as we haven't discussed, they traded up.
Right.
They gave away a ton. They got the first
Mhm.
overall pick in this year's draft. What do you think that how that's going to look for them this season? Can we expect them to contend for this division?
You know what? They pretty much they. I truly believe that they're not too far away of being a contender in
Mhm.
this division. Just the way they ended the season, I think defensively they're solid. I think the only missing piece is quarterback for them. They had a strong running game, decent receivers whatsoever. They probably draft a receiver. They probably waiting to see what D Hopkins gonna do. So here's this all 14. Well, the other three teams in the division is in trouble.
Mhm.
And they all in trouble at the quarterback position, even
Right.
though Carr goes to the Saints whatsoever, but they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is so bad right now that if we don't beat them solidly, I'm gonna be hurt. It's gonna hurt my heart.
And for the fans, Derek Carr to the Saints and Baker Mayfield,
Yeah,
Tampa Bay
Tampa.
Buccaneers.
Yeah, so it's gonna hurt my heart. And then you're looking at the Carolina Panthers, most probably gonna draft a quarterback.
Right.
If we don't win this division, come on, man, really?
I agree.
Come on, man.
It's ours to
I
win.
mean, it's we were close last year. But close is only in hand grenades and
Mhm. Cigars,
is it?
horseshoes
Other
too.
than that, I think we should be okay. You know, we talk about the wide receiver position because I am a wide receiver and that's what I coach and that's what I teach. That's the people I train. And
Right.
you talk about that room. There's there still needs to be a dude in there. I know Drake London is that guy. He's still young, but he needs that dude to really push him, to show him, to guide him
Mhm.
to be a much better professional at
Right.
his job. You see what I'm saying? And or you or you need or you need a coach in that position that can say, hey, whatsoever, blah blah blah. Well, of course they didn't do that.
Right.
They chose a defensive back coach to be the wide receiver coach. Mm. But you know what that tells me, and I've seen this before. It tells me you don't respect the position
Mhm.
because I was there um, in Atlanta when Dan Reeves named an offensive line coach to be our wide receiver coach,
Wow.
and that was because he did not respect the position
Yeah.
um, because he was a running coach. He liked to run the football more than he wanted to throw the football. And so I understood that. So most coaches who are about the front line, the offensive line, running game, ground and pound, that type of thing, really don't respect the wide receiver room as much as a guy who wants to throw it 35, 40 times a
Right.
game. That makes sense?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying anything bad about Arthur Smith or anything else, but I'm just saying
His
it's
philosophy is
that's
run,
his
basically.
philosophy,
Mhm.
and so it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, we're gonna throw the ball 20, 25 times a game, and this is the routes we're gonna run, blah blah blah, this and that. So what is there to teach? We ain't throwing it 45, 50 times a game where we got all this sophisticated stuff going on that we need somebody who's done it in it and show it. And you just need to, when I give you the game plan, you just tell them what to do.
Right.
Go out and do an individual drills. You go out and do the individual drills that you make up whatsoever, and make sure they're doing the right things. I mean, that's it.
And that's what I guess my question earlier is, because what I'm afraid of is if they don't get anyone, a receiver that's a veteran that can kind of help mold Drake London, then it's going to end up being some rookie wide receivers, and then he's going to be the leader of the pack, so to speak.
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, he's already the leader, but
yeah, I know, but here's the thing about that room right there, and free agents. When a free agent comes in, he meets the owner, the GM, the head coach, his position coach, the offensive coordinator. He sits with his position coach. And when you're a veteran wide receiver coming in, that's particularly on his way maybe to Hall of Fame, or tinkering on being a Hall of Fame, you want to know what your position coach knows. You're trying to feel your position coach, how we going to get along, whatsoever.
Right.
Is he going to push me? Is he going to teach me? Does he know what he's talking about? Can I trust him? Those things whatsoever. So that, what? It's not even with the wide receiving coaching. It's with any position.
Right.
With any position, when you have a veteran guy to come in, that's a big, high profile veteran guy, he wants to know if his position coach can run the meeting room. And the second thing, and people think, well,
when you say run the meeting room, you're making sure no crosstalk, or he's correcting players on what they need to do and stuff.
That they trust him. They have to trust you. They have to trust you. And they have to know you know what you're talking about. Right. They have to know that no matter what it is, you got their back. You cannot throw them up under the bus. Coach says, what is he doing? You cannot yell out loud, says, well, I told him, right. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's easy to do. The only thing you can do is say, I got it, coach. I got it. I got it. Then you pull him to the side and say, hey, look, this is what we're expecting, blah, blah, blah. You never throw a kid up under the bus. And I say kids because they're younger than I am. You never throw a kid up under the bus just to make yourself not get into trouble. Makes sense?
Right. Yeah.
And that's with any position. And that's why I say the most important acquisition of the Falcons made was with Jackson and Gray, right. The defensive back coaches. That's the most, because you have the most experience right there on that side of the football, and those two guys gonna make that defense go. That defensive secondary will never be out of place. They're gonna play aggressively. They're gonna make plays. They're gonna create turnovers. That's ace. And then you add Bates the third.
Yeah.
Come on. And then you already got
Hawkins and Grant and AJ
Terrell. Come on, man. Come on, hey man. So we're gonna be okay.
What you got for us in the show today?
You know what? A while back, a friend of mine sent me a post that they received from a person, and they said, "Well, I like Terrence Mathis, but he used a big word. I forgot what the word was, but basically the word means someone who pushed their religion beliefs off on somebody else." I would never push my religious beliefs or my faith off on you people who watch this or anyone. But what I can do is give you my testimony and tell you what God has done for me.
Right.
And then you can decide if you want God in your life. Because this is one thing that I know. When I kneel before God, he stands up for me. And when he stands up for me, no one, nobody, no situation can hurt me.
Right.
At all. So it ain't about me pushing my religion or my faith off on you. I'm telling you, I would not be here today if it wasn't for God's grace, love, and mercy. I'm gonna tell you that for sure. From his blessings, from a praying grandmother, from a mother, from a wife, to my sisters, to a family that prays for me constantly. A, a sinner like me, a wretch like me, and I've done some things that people wish they could do. I've been places people wish they could go, and it wasn't because of me.
Right.
It was because of God. You don't understand that. If you don't understand that, okay, I get it. And you can say, well, I'm still here and I don't believe in God and my faith is not strong. That's fine. That's good. That's good. It's not gonna be a debate. We're not gonna debate this at all. It's not gonna be a fight. It's not gonna be an argument. It's not gonna be a debate at all. Because I know where I stand and I know who I believe in and I know who have brought me this far and I know who will never leave me. And that's my Savior, Jesus Christ.
All right. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, T, for always
Amen.
sharing. I hope everyone has a great week. Remember to subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited and send in some questions. Tell us who you think we should draft.